Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wake Up Missoula. I am your host, Scott Ramp, and I'm here to usher you into the weekend. It is the end of July, and as we're moving into August, I'm going to talk about a lot of things that are affecting you in Missoula, around the nation, and more. I got a lot of segments. I got a lot of fun videos I want to show you guys as well, but let's kick things off with the Olympics. The Olympics are going on, and they're going to go on until August 8th, so we have a good chunk of time. We're right in the thick of the 2021 Summer Olympics, formerly known as 2020 Olympics. And in Japan, we kick off with more medals over the weekend. Basically, on Monday, we saw that Japan was leading everyone with 8 gold medals, with U.S. behind with 7, and then China was down to about, let's see, sorry about this. I'm just trying to refer to my notes, 6. But right now, let's actually do an updated check with a gold medal count. If you look online as well, China is beating everyone with 19 gold medals, 40 medals total. Japan is in second with 17 gold medals, and U.S. is at third, currently sitting at 14 gold medals. But overall, U.S. has 41 medals overall with all the Olympians. Let's talk about some of the things. One of the really thing that really has been raising eyebrows is 13-year-old Moniji Najira, 13-year-old girl dunking on all the skateboarding's women's competitions. She's become Japan's youngest ever gold medal winner and one of the youngest Olympic champions of all time. She shared the podium with 2 other teenagers. From what I saw in this competition, in the skateboard competition, it seems like a lot of the women's skateboarder team tends to be under 18 in teenage years, and I've seen, and then the men's skateboarder team seems to be in the younger 20s, some teenagers, but for the most part, a lot of the ones that have gotten medals have been young adults. So skateboarding made its debut in the Olympics actually this year. Well, with most competitions, they have like X Games and tournaments, but never on a world stage as big as the Olympics. So part of the new deal is that they have 2 different kind of categories. One is street, is a playground of stairs, rails, and short ramps meant to simulate something like a schoolyard or office park. It's a 45-second runs. You get and 5 single tricks, and each will be judged on a 10-point scale. So it's very much like a performance, short format chance to win a gold medal. And then there's park, which is another segment, is meant to invoke a swimming pool. The half bite rails, being able to do tricks, and part of this is a non-stop stretch for 45 seconds or until they fall. And this is just part of the new Olympic skateboarding trials. Simon Biles has been making headlines as the gymnast who took a lot of gold medals in 2016 Olympics, but has taken a big sideline during the 2021 Olympics for her mental health. And so far, the women's gymnastics team did shine with Sunuzi Lee's big win for the U.S. team. She is from Minnesota, and so far the Olympics are going on with little issue coming off the pandemic, and some athletes are testing positive, but have been able to continue to compete. The Olympics end is on August 8th, like I just said. And speaking of the pandemic in Missoula has started to see some masks as a result of the CDC recommending people who are vaccinated and who are not able to socially distance to wear masks. So far, the Montana Republicans have voiced opposition to doing another mask mandate, which was taken out months before Biden announced if you were vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask speech. Steve Daines that also mentioned that by not also made a comment on this as well, saying that this undermines the vaccines for people who have been vaccinated. And so anyways, moving on to other things. This week was a kind of a big hot topic because this is the January 6th insurrection inquiry committee, which invited 4 law enforcement officers who were on the front lines during the January 6th riots who spoke. Those men recounted their efforts to slow the protesters as they devolved into riots and were met with insurrection-type tactics to get them to join them, or they would be treated like the enemy. Harry Dunn, the only black man, dealt with the brunt of verbal assaults thrown his way. The other 3 officers were met with similar, but in a "you should be on our side" being chanted at those police officers. Officer Officer Michael Fanone called the incident disgraceful and went off on the GOP downplaying and denying the January 6th insurrection. Officer for 20 years in D.C., he says he's lived through hell, and being told hell isn't as bad or as bad as January 6th betrayed their oath of office. Sergeant Aquilo Gonell held back tears in a testimony saying that he feared more for his life on January 6th than when he was deployed in Iraq. And so far, the statements released by the GOP officials have been critical of how these committees was formed, which includes adding Liz Cheney to the committee, who was kicked out of her committee by House GOP earlier in the year. They mentioned that Nancy Pelosi only wants to questions asked by her people and not any of the GOP. Many will argue that the FBI is handling these individual cases of those involved, but this committee goal is to prevent these kinds of things from happening. Like you've heard time and time again, the January 6th riot, insurrection, whatever you call it, was the first time in people in America tried to force a leader into power regardless of the outcome of an election. And also, changing gears completely, I don't have a segue to move into this, but tourism is up in national parks. In many minds, the outdoors have been a sanctuary for many people stuck inside for most of the pandemic. Other countries have mitigated their travel to our national parks, but locals in the U.S. have taken advantage to become first-time tourists in some of our national parks that they've never been to. And so far, these are first-time tourists, and in many cases, some of the results are going to occur, are having to deal with some capacity issues. In Yellowstone, which reported its busiest May ever, photos on social media showed mile-long lines of idling cars and RVs at entrance gates. And busy parks such as Yosemite Zion visitors and staff alike complain about the increase of litter, toilet paper, and human feces on trails. Also, the underemployment of a lot of the workers at the park system have been not been able to keep up with the massive influx of people coming into those towns as well. But there's, it's very interesting because like last summer, everyone was cooped up inside. There was a couple July 4th celebrations which people kind of broke out of for a second and then had to go back in with such rates start really increasing during the pandemic around that time. That's pretty much it for your roundup and news items that are happening. There's always so much going on, but I just wanted to highlight some of those things. And up next, we do have a short video from Drummond's Rodeo. This was recorded a couple weeks ago, and this is their 2021 Drummond Rodeo presented by the Kiwanis Club of Drummond. So without further ado, here is this video, and when I come back, we're going to talk about some movies that are coming out this weekend.
Gathering and going to rodeos and stuff. We missed out on some of last year. What's your favorite event?
Probably steer wrestling. Thank you.
Thank you.
I like coming to the Drummond Rodeo. It's a pro rodeo, so it's got a lot of good stock, good cowboys, good competitors, a lot of good riders, and just all in all, everybody's super nice here and they treat everybody fairly. Thank you.
The bull riding was super fun to watch. Was there any particular ones that really stood out? The first bull who was like crazy, super big guy. Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back. Let's talk a little bit about a couple movies that are coming out this week, and it's time for a pre-critic where I prejudge a movie whether it needs it or not. Whoop, there it is. Welcome to yet another Disney ride that needs a movie. Here's an adventure with Dwayne the Rock Johnson who joins Emily Blunt on a Jungle Cruise type adventure. This movie is it's called Jungle Cruise, and it follows people going on a journey to get things, but at what cost? Blah blah blah. The bad guy wants to use it for nefarious reason, followed by good guys destroying the means of the thing to keep away from the bad guy. So it's like this thing's really good, but if it falls in the wrong hands, it'll be even worse. So it ends up basically being pointless. But it's not about the destination; it's always about the journey. So hence Jungle Cruise. Up next, we got a movie that's coming out. Like Arthurian legend. There's always some movie that comes out. It's like, oh, we're gonna have a cool sword fighting action movie that's very much like Game of Thrones. Well, this movie is definitely not it, because from what I've seen and what I've been told, based on an old Arthurian lore about a knight looking for glory, only to be humbled in the end. Basically, nepotism from the nephew of King Arthur looking for quick glory. This is ticketed as a very Guillermo del Toro type, very dark fairy tale fantasy, blah blah. So you don't expect too much action. A man who is on borrowed time because of his hubris. In the end, it might work out, but hey. There's a talking fox, you got some giants, and of course the titular character, the Green Knight, who will kill the knight that is not the Green Knight, but has survived the Green Knight, who is cursed himself. You can watch the 1973 version online on YouTube for free, to the glory of YouTube. And Green Knight, really red poster for a thing about a Green Knight, so maybe they could have done a palette check. All right. Anyways, this next movie is called Stillwater. Imagine you're a American man going to France and it's like, why don't they speak American? Taken is back again, but under different circumstances, name, and possibly story, Matt Damon must save his daughter in France, who, in this case, is in prison for doing a crime she didn't commit. And this is dealing with a foreign legal system, is under attack from the U.S. perspective. France created the Magna Carta, which is a document recognized as the rule of law, blah, blah, blah. So, they're one of the reasons why we have the modern democracy today. But anyways, we're going to ignore all that. Language warrior, like, do you speak American? And a closed-minded good old boy has to use his skills to help his daughter dispute the clearly unfair legal system in Japan based on this Hollywood movie. I like it the first time when they did An American Werewolf in Paris. Just terrible. Absolute garbage. And also this movie, and speaking of werewolves, I have a werewolf movie with absolutely no werewolves for you guys. This is called The Moon of the Wolf, because I guess the Wolf of the Moon was already taken in terms of titles. So without further ado, here's Dubbin Stuff, and when I come back, we're going to talk about some city council.
What is this, the trial of the Incredible Hulk? Shut up, Dave. Well, Doc, what do you got there? This body should be alive. Unfortunately, I got some bad news for you guys. Oh, so this isn't a backdoor pilot to our Marvel movie? I think you mean Marvel. Oh, is this gonna be one of those another Target Target rants? There's nothing I can do. The guy's dead. He was torn apart. Jail bar, door. I gotta go catch augmented reality monsters on my phone. Well, you heard the guy. So, what do you think could have done that? Yes, I'm talking to you. Well, I'm suspecting we won't know until the third act climax, and then we'll shoot it dead. I don't know if it's a good idea. I'm really scared of this thing. I don't know what it is. I think it's gonna come get me. Oh, no. I can't smell the B-plot on ya. Oh, you leave guy number 1 alone. He does not know what he says. Excuse me. And I want you to tell me exactly what you expect us to do. Man, this is a small town. This is the reason why I moved to a small town. I won't have to deal with these murders and stuff. Alright, guys. I think you're kind of tainting the evidence area, but it's the 70s, so I'll let it pass. Well, I got a good idea. We should form a mob. We gotta take this thing out before it takes us out one by one. Alright. This is the part of the movie where I'm supposed to tell you that's not a good idea. And yes. And I'm the doctor who's gonna agree with the police officer that I have a history with. Excuse me. Sorry, I just gotta get through. Well, with a killer out on the loose, the smart idea would be to put on a curfew and make sure that any young... Oh, you think so, don't you? But it's Young Person Awareness Night. Oh, just what the heck does that mean? Kids got to go out. What? That's really stupid. That's a killer on the loose. You can't just have people going out, especially young people on young person awareness night, that you see? But our diner economy. You see, I know this is a one-diner town. Doesn't have that great of pies. I've been to other towns. Oh well. Now just wait and cotton-picking men. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I know this. You gotta let those kids go out tonight, and you gotta protect them. We'll be your vigilante force. You can trust us. Huh. Are you sure you got a double-barrel shotgun? Because I'm gonna need it. Well, I call her Sweet Betsy, and she's gonna shoot real good, right? She's gonna shoot this monster, and she's gonna shoot her real good. You got that? I got it. And when she's done shooting her, she's gonna might even shoot her some more. And there's nothing left to shoot. Let's get it going. Come on. Let's go.
Man, sometimes when I record it, I feel like I'm in a fever dream. But anyways, let's move on to some city council. City council is talking about becoming a JEDI. I'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. But we're going to kick things off with one of the things that they're really kind of getting into, and they're talking about LGBTQ plus rights, and they wanted to draft up a resolution to say that Missoula does not stand with what the Montana legislature has done. And I'll talk a little bit more about it, but of course the city kicks off with their typical agenda. Consent agenda approves accounts payable in the amounts of $2.4 million. Audit contract for 3 years, so the city is going to audit themselves from a third party, and this is pretty much standard practice for a lot of communities that do audits just to do all their money and all that stuff. And this is a contract for 3 years for a different company for about $283,500, approving the master plumber for appointment. Let's see, water company office space, the $300,000 cap. Money from the water company will be paying for this. Set a fiscal year 2022 budget meeting for August 16th date. So if you're interested in the budget, the August 16th date is when they're going to discuss it, in which they will vote finally on the fiscal year 2022 budget on August 23rd. And so far, most of these passed with a conservative minority opposing the water company's need for additional office spaces. It's not necessarily they are against the need for office spaces, but they're against the idea of how the city of Missoula is approaching it by buying up more property. The city will make final vote on the resolution to support trans youth in Missoula and make a statement to the Montana legislature about finding actions in the last session to be ill-informed and damaging to Montana youth and their families. Rabbi Franklin Harshalom spoke in support of LGBTQ plus rights.
To counter that damaging decision making with a very beautiful resolution that is inclusive and supportive of Montana youth, their families, this whole community, and declaring support for transgender and all LGBTQ plus youth living within our community. And I'm just reading your words back to you, in fact, but what I do wish to say is I'm here to support it both as an individual, as clergy, and also to say that the movements of which I'm part, the religious movements that I'm part of, would support this 100%. So thank you for the opportunity, and I hope as it goes into final consideration, I urge you all to vote yes. Thank you.
And just for a little bit of background, Rabbi Franklin is from Har Shalom, and they made some national news when individual here in the city of Missoula, an elderly person, started doing anti-Semitic pamphlets around town. The city of Missoula community came together to support this local religious place as assembly, and Rabbi Franklin has been known to make statements and been invited to many city rallies and causes since then. Grace Decker, MCPS School Board Trustee, talked about the local schools and how they are tackling this, and this is what she had to say.
Our policy number 3210 that protects all of our students from discrimination, including around issues of sex and gender. Our language says that educational opportunities will be available for all students without regard to race, color, national origin, sex, religion, creed, physical or mental disability, economic or social conditions, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender nonconformity, and actual or potential marital or parental status. It goes on to say that no student shall be denied equal access to programs, activities, services, or benefits on the basis of those. This policy was adopted by our board in 2015 with quite a bit of input and support from council. and MCPS stands by its policy.
All right. So yeah, basically Grace Decker saying is that they've been supporting LGBTQ plus rights since 2015. And here is another clip that I have. John Ledger, who also spoke in support of this, and this is what he had to say. He also works with kids at school programs. So this is what John had to say.
I get to work with all kids at Hellgate, and I get to try to make as many interactions with as many different kids as I can. The kids that fit into this transgender and LGBTQ plus community are kind, nice, non-threatening kids, and they deserve our support just like all kids deserve our support. And they need to be reassured that Missoula is a welcoming and safe place for them to live.
All right, and so that's what he had to say. I'm just gonna go through some of these comments as quickly as I can. Spider McKnight, Six Pony Hitch, who is working with the Learn Missoula, working on gathering information in terms of that. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but just Spider McKnight is speaking in support of this as well, and this is what she had to say.
A couple weeks ago, we were talking about not legislating on what if this happens. I'd rather talk about what is happening, and I think we're also afraid that a trans athlete, some of the arguments I heard were that a trans athlete might have an advantage. I don't agree with that, but I also think that the what if somebody is a lot better than somebody else is very different than what is. And I think Zoe just spoke really wonderfully towards what is, and that what is that our kids are hurting, our trans kids are hurting, our trans kids need our support, our trans kids need to know that they belong. And for me, that is so much more important and vital for us as a community than the what if somebody might win a race that somebody else doesn't, which again, I don't think that any of the statistics show that that's actually happening. So I'm going to appeal to all of you again and say this is really, really important. And I'm going to say that in terms of fair, it's also not fair that some of us feel comfortable in the gender that we were assigned at birth and other people don't. And if we want to talk about fairness, let's really think about that. It's not really fair that some of you can legislate based on an experience that's not a lived experience for other people.
All right, and that was Spider McKnight talking a little bit, about that as well. The city decided to also weigh in this resolution. Started with some of the conservative voices. John Contos. This is what John Contos had to say and why he opposes Missoula's resolution.
Children under the age of 18, they really don't have a full understanding of a lot of things. Their brains aren't fully developed. You take a battle situation. It's the 18-year-olds that are charging into war. Yippee-ki-yay, let's go get them, while the older folks are in the back, usually because of their rank. But it's that whole idea is they're not quite there yet. I think for a child or someone under 18 to make a decision to become the opposite sex through operations or surgeries or injections, that's for life. That's pretty big. Now, I think once they get to the age where they can make a decision on their own, after they've viewed life a little bit better, I feel like that's all right. That's their call. But I think for people under 18, they're just not there yet.
Okay, and that's what John Contos had to say. Sandra Vasica is also a conservative voice, also weighed in on some of the overreaching government entities in which that this resolution is imposing. So this is what Sandra Vasica had to say.
That's terrific.
Hold on one second. Let me just find where the heck is she? Okay, here we go. Sorry.
Voice their stories and give their input on this resolution. When I first mentioned when this resolution first came up that there were parts of it that I agree with and parts that I do disagree with. But first of all, I would like to say to all the members of the LGBTQ plus community, you are absolutely welcome here. I don't want any part of my words tonight to be misconstrued into thinking that any Montanan, any American is unwelcome. You all matter, and however you choose to live your life is up to you and up to you alone. I 100% support your individual right to choose how to live your life and how you choose to pursue happiness. With that being said, I do agree with the majority of this resolution. The decisions between a patient and their doctor is just that, the decisions between them and them alone. Unless a minor is involved, and then decisions between them are between the patient, the parents, and the doctor, and them alone. The government, I believe, has no business in interfering with those decisions. I also agree that equal educational and extracurricular activities should, and from my understanding, are available to all students. My only concern with this resolution is that by supporting it, we would be supporting biological males competing against biological females during athletic competitions. And I just can't support that. I have to stick up for the female athletes.
All right, and that's what Sandra Vasica had to say about that. Let's see here. Oh, and as a response, Brian von Loxberg thinks that the last legislation is just a national influence pushing laws through, and this is what he had to say about that.
Someone named Wyatt Ronan from the human rights organization I referenced before says this is an effort being driven by national far-right organizations attempting to sow fear and hate. And that is simply what this kind of legislation is about. It is about fear and hate with a under the guise of some sort of fairness issue elsewhere, and it's a complete red herring. I think one of my constituents in Ward 1 put it the best. He wrote in and provided public comment, and he said, government at its best should uplift people, not use mean-spirited government overreach to discriminate against its own citizens. I couldn't agree with that sentiment more, and I'm very proud to support this.
All right, and that was Brian von Loxberg on that. And that was pretty much the end of that segment. Regardless of what side you fall on, there are always real damaging consequences as soon as you start taking away people's rights and following a crowdsourced vision of the status quo. The resolution passed with a 7-3. Couple members were absent, but this resolution is basically just going to tell to the state legislatures that we do not support HB 112, or we support the attempt at a couple of the other legislations against trans individuals. All right, moving on, we got Committee of the Whole, the 2020 census findings. So they invited somebody from the Census Bureau to come on down to talk a little bit more about the population, the changes that are happening, and not just necessarily the U.S. congressional seat, but in terms of redistricting the state of Montana, trying to figure that out. But so far, right now, this is more of an informational thing. You can look up more information on this as well. I just wanted to speed through this as fast as possible. I just noticed I had a lot of quotes and clips throughout this. But anyways, just wanted you guys to know that Missoula County District is District 99 in the House, to which former Superintendent of MCPS Mark Thane holds that seat. The city, along with many other cities, are looking to become JEDIs. Remember when I was talking a little bit about this? I'm sure you probably read about this in the newspaper, Missoula Current or anything like that, but the JEDI stands for a just, equitable, diverse, and inclusive city free of systematic and structural inequalities, where our community is connected and honors our individuals, a healthy and vibrant community where we are welcome and valued, and our physical, mental, social, and spiritual needs are met. So as of not so long ago, the city of Missoula joined a National League of Cities to kind of work with this and add this program in terms of Learn Missoula, which is listening, engaging, action, reflection network, which uses real data from local BIPOC population to understand the pitfalls these folks live with dealing with living in a state with 90% white Montana. And this is Ashley Brittner Wells. She's a coordinator with JEDI, reflects on the census and as it relates to JEDI.
The city of Missoula has taken a stance and affirmed its commitment to social equity in a variety of ways over the last few years. Donna mentioned a few of those. The City County Health Department's Missoula Invest Health Initiative through the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, the Community Planning, Development, and Innovation Department's Affordable Housing Trust Fund, and others. That commitment has become more intentional as we look at what we are doing and hopefully invest resources in some of the following ways on this historical timeline. So the 2020-2023 Missoula Strategic Plan. As Donna mentioned, we became a part of the cohort for the City of Missoula National League of Cities in 2021. In November of 2020, City Council, you all know this, hired the Listening, Engaging, Action, Reflection Network, or Learn Missoula, to, through their research, they seek to determine the level of municipal systems awareness of implicit and explicit biases and inequities toward BIPOC residents and how they use data to make changes. They are centering BIPOC voices through research, interviews, and data collection.
All right, so that's kind of like the rundown of exactly what the city of Missoula is trying to do to help understand how systemic racism and social equity works in the city of Missoula. And so far, the city spent $150,000 towards this data gathering last summer as Missoula was reacting to George Floyd's murder last year as well. Ashley continued to talk about how they're going on to how they're going to approach this, and this is what Ashley had to say.
The roadmap is not all inclusive of the work we are doing or planning to do. It is a draft, and we still need to convene with the community to get their feedback. But we want to align and collaborate on current efforts of the many organizations in the community that are doing equity work, how we can help them, and vice versa. Some of those groups and organizations doing this type of work have been solicited by Jamar to be a part of the JEDI Advisory Board work group. So it's all a collaboration. We see it as a really, inclusive collaboration with the community. This roadmap creates guidelines toward 5 overarching outcomes, which are the second from the right on this slide, all under our shared vision of a JEDI Missoula, a just, equitable, diverse, and inclusive Missoula, free of systemic and structural inequalities.
All right, so one of the main purposes of this is to create a social equity and a need. And social equity is a new term that's been thrown around towards being able to rise those up in need while also trying to take away, while also not trying to take away from others, but still being able to recognize the shortfalls many people face on a regular basis. I personally think a lot of economic issues are a big thing that's happening in the city of Missoula, is a real problem, but at the same time, we should not ignore the BIPOC population regardless. But back to this meeting. So this basically is to work with our communities that are part of this National Cities program to foster change and improve equity. This was a meeting that should show what all. Oh, wait, hold on. Geez, my writing's terrible. But anyways, this was the meeting that should show what all this past year has been working towards in terms of social equity has led to in the city of Missoula. Jamar Galbraith talks about the public input and how the county of Missoula is looking to implement the JEDI.
I'm excited to have been part of this presentation. We gained another representative, and I think that just by nature of having that one more voice at the national level is really reflective and indicative of some of the things that we're working towards today. And so with that, this county is adopting, following the lead here of the city, adopting a similar mirrored resolution that is making its way through the public comment period. That resolution was introduced to the Board of County Commissioners July 22nd, so last Thursday. The public comment period is open until August 5th. And which point the public comment period will close, and then we'll have time to incorporate the feedback into the resolution before we ask the commissioners to take action on it on August 12th.
All right, so those are some of the dates for you guys to know, and just to repeat it, August 12th is when they're going to have additional meetings to the city. Of course, along with the city, MCPS, University of Montana, various other local entities are looking to incorporate services that put a spotlight on social equity. They will have the next update on this later this year in terms of how they're working on it and how they're going to implement it. All right, so let's see here. There's really not much more I want to talk about in terms of city council. They were talking a little bit more about the budget committee of the whole, which that's a kind of like while they're working through the system. And one of the biggest things that they were talking about was, I'm just going to kind of give you a brief overview. I don't need to show any clips, but I just wanted to tell you that they were looking into the municipal court, attorney's office, redevelopment agency, parking commission, health plan, and permissive medical levy will be discussed. This is a part of the general fund for the 2022 fiscal year. They spoke in length about the municipal court system, and as you know, just a little bit of background, the state of Montana now requires that we have an election for our judges in the municipal court system, because originally the city council would appoint a judge, and so far it would only be, I think, 2 municipal judges, but now with this election it's going to look to like add another judge, so they're going to add some more funds to be able to have the judge, and then additional clerks and also bailiffs to be associated with this judge. But of course, just thinking back to those unconstitutional court fees that the state of Montana overturned reflected the underpaid and overworked staff processing these cases. It's not a thankful job. You know, when was the last time you ever went to the courthouse to pay a ticket and you were like, this was a great experience? You know, just think about it. It's just something that is just part of a system that has to kind of be, it's it's definitely part of the system to keep things going. I don't know. It's hard to justify getting a ticket because it's like it's not fair when it happens to you. But anyways, moving on. Let's talk about something else. The MRA also was up to talk about their processes, the development, the urban renewal districts, some of the funds that go into this in terms of mitigating blight, and yes, TIF funding. And so far, MRA is over $200,000 in the red as a result of many projects being approved over the past year. But they also mentioned Ellen Buchanan, the director of MRA, said that funding sources for a lot of these projects will slowly be put in. The only thing that would happen is the slower stream of money going into these projects if there is a issue in terms of lack of funding. So that was one of the bigger takeaways from this, is that they don't invest in a lot of these. They don't put a lot of funds through TIFs, but it's as the money becomes available, they'll provide them for the projects. But another project is improving. They talked about a lot of their array of projects happening throughout the city of Missoula. Sorry about that. It's morning. A lot of weird stuff. But anyways, so they're talking about the downtown deal with Karis Park. They'll, Karis Park. They're going to be taking down that kind of like large grassy mound. I'm going off script, so bear with me. And they're taking off that grassy mound. They're going to improve the Karis Park kind of pavilion area and just kind of have an overall just improvement in that area. Not to mention that they're going to be improving the corridor from Hellgate High School all the way through Higgins to Broadway, and so that's one of the corridors that they want to improve upon as well. MRA is a very busy department with various projects in the works and figuring out revenue streams to support an ever-growing town. So in conclusion of all my meetings, I wanted to mention that the budgeting for the city is vast and complicated, especially in times where tax deadlines are pushed back for the last 2 years, and also CARES Act funding, American Rescue Relief funding. There's just a lot of money that's going to be coming in through grants and figuring out the kind of money that's being put into place. So there's a lot of there's always issues in terms of, okay, it's like how much money do we have here? It's like we don't know exactly for sure, but with the budget, the way that the city has done this before is that once they pass the budget, they always go back to review the budget over and over again to make sure that the budget reflects the time of the month as well as the rest of the year. All right, so for more information on your budget committee and other meetings, you can go to ci.missoula.mt.us. I'll bring that up for you guys. It is a wonderful website for you guys to go check out and find out everything Missoula. You can go pay your water bills, sewer bills online. You can find out what meetings are coming up as well. You can find city jobs, look for permits, parks and recreation, public safety and health, just a lot of great resources from the city of Missoula's website. Again, it's ci.missoula.mt.us. All right, I do have a fun video I want to show you guys, and it is from our Dude I Just Junior. So we do a Dude I Just Drew, but we also do a Dude I Just Drew during our summer camps, which we add a nice, cool junior element to it. So here is a nice highlighted video, edited heavily by yours truly, to show some of the fun activities that we do during our animation camps. So without further ado, here is Dude I Just Junior.
Hello everybody, welcome to Dude I Just Drew Junior. Junior? Dude I Just Drew Junior, yeah. Junior, yes. Here we have lovely audience here to be ready to draw. We got everybody here. You guys get 5 minutes to draw a topic that the audience wants. And yeah, that's about it.
Come on up.
Okay, we begin the drawing.
Do you have any suggestions from the audience?
Any suggestions? Yes, you. Sorry, I don't know your name. Superheroes? Superhero. Okay, we got a superhero.
Superheroes.
Heroes. Multiple superheroes. Okay. Are we ready to begin? Wait, when do we begin?
Oh, here, did you want a timer?
Yeah.
Okay.
For 5 minutes,
Yeah,
right?
I'll pull up the timer. I'm not used to being Scott.
not used to having Scots.
Yeah.
Is this like a competition?
No, you guys get to
The
try.
real one's a competition.
Yes.
We're not old enough to compete.
No, this is just a different.
This is just a different version.
This is a spin-off.
This is the spin-off show.
Until
Welcome
you're 18,
to
you can't compete. You can't do anything.
Junior. Junior.
Junior.
Dude, I just drew Junior.
No, it's dude, I just drew.
Dude, I just drew.
Oh,
Wow! Yeah, there we go.
I'll try to fix this over here real quick.
You know, everybody here knows my name, but I don't know.
Trying to fix the ears a bit.
So who do we have? Who do we have drawing?
I am drawing orange and seconds. Are you okay?
Yes. I have to pretend that my life is like it's on the camera all the time. That's how you get through it.
Just pretend the cameras aren't there, and then before you know it, you've done boring
They're not
stuff
there
for long
anymore.
enough
Yeah.
That they've left.
That they're not there anymore. They're gone.
You don't exist.
To make something weird.
Make your own. Be creative and create whatever you desire.
Whatever feels right to you. Draw from the heart.
Yes.
Rowan, 2021. What are your inspirations for drawing? May I ask?
Mostly a lot of cartoons and from shows and all that. I watched a lot of animations on YouTube.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is very good. Thank you. You can choose somebody a person who wants to go next. The next person.
It looks like Ava's very desperate, so I'm gonna let her go.
Yes.
Cat riding a taco. Yes.
Cat riding a taco.
Cat riding a taco?
Cat riding a taco.
Taco Cat is everywhere already.
Taco
we don't
Cat.
need more Taco Cat, okay?
We got Taco Cat. And there we go. We're going. Cappuccino. Cappuccino. Sky's the limit. That was quick.
Are you done?
Yes. Is that it?
Never be.
Nice job. Wow, that was quick.
All right.
That was really good.
One last shot of the.
Cappuccino. That was great. That looks great. Any suggestions? Yeah.
Unicorn animal?
Unicorn animals?
So just like different animals that are unicorn.
Animals that have the horn of a unicorn.
Okay.
Like nar.
Is this an acceptable topic for you, Case?
So just like animals with unicorn?
With a horn?
And
Is
maybe
any-
a tail.
And maybe a tail?
Like an animal fused with the unicorn, like with a unicorn horn.
So we got a unicorn animals.
Is it going to be a narwhal?
Please don't be a
The
pig.
incredible,
Penguin?
incredible.
Please don't be a pig. It's gonna be a lamb. It could be anything. I just hope
It could be anything. Keep your
unicorn penguin.
unicorn.
Art tip number 342, patience is important.
Patience is important.
Especially when you only
Could be
have
a
5
penguin.
minutes.
Yes.
Maybe I'll make it a penguin now because it kind of looks like a penguin.
Yay.
What was the original plan? Yeah.
Yes, it is corn on the cob. It's a penguin.
It's the
Penguin.
Ah, it's a horned owl.
oh oh.
I've never tried, so.
This is what it's all about. Trying new things.
Just spit on the window and not even draw
Yeah,
Art lesson number infinity.
Infinity is unreachable.
It's unreachable.
Yeah, and thus.
She was the one that said it, but aliens.
Aliens?
Alright.
Aliens.
Aliens, yes.
I can get behind that. Alien sounds good.
I've been abducted by aliens.
You've been abducted? You?
Is that when you went into space? Like you said
Oh, yeah.
You went to Mars.
Went over to the Mars, got
Yeah, but there
stolen
are no
by
Martians.
Martians.
True.
They
Possible,
don't have-
but they're
maybe-
just
maybe
single-celled
Earth is-
organisms moving around and eating ammonia.
Yes.
Tony Hawk skating on a meteor.
Skating on a meteor. Was he the one that caused the dinosaurs to be extinct?
I just heard that there was a scrap Space Jam sequel that was called Skate Jam that would have starred Tony Hawk.
That would have been
Oh,
amazing.
that's time.
Wow, we got Alien.
All right. Does anybody have a suggestion for Woody?
Tony Hawk riding a meteor.
All right, Tony Hawk riding. Do you want to do that, Woody?
Except I have no clue what Tony Hawk looks like.
He's the guy who rides a skate.
He's a, yeah. There's the skateboard.
I really wish Skate Jam was made. That would have been fun.
That would have been pretty fun.
Yeah.
I would have preferred an X Games style Looney Tunes. It's got this ramp.
Yeah, and he
On
brings it with him.
every meteor in the belt.
Not
so
on
that he
every
gets this giant air and it comes flying back down.
But there is
Yeah, I'm
no
pretty sure
air in
that's like
space to
3
get.
Sonic games.
That's what I mean, is that you get the best air in my mouth.
He-
Best air in the
There is no air to get.
not oxygen.
Is he dabbing?
Is he?
No, he just has his arm like this.
What's up, everybody? It's me. The guy's been talking the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the guy that's been talking?
What?
It's been me.
The consistent chatter is here?
All right.
Homeless
I think
worm
you
man
should
with
do
a hook.
DIY trip.
Sorry, what was that?
Homeless worm man with a hook.
What?
I like that one.
I do like
yeah,
that
do
one.
that one.
All right, homeless worm man.
A hook, or he could just be tied to a hook.
Give him.
Or he could have a hook coming out of his mouth. Or
He's puking up a hook.
there are many different ways he could do this.
So, what's your experience with the
Is that his
homeless?
hair?
What's my experience with homeless? A homeless coat.
I mean, that's true. His coat is homeless.
And there are no bones in that
The
coat.
cheapest coat ever in the world.
We'll erase this a little
You
bit.
know, for a worm, he's got some pretty broad shoulders.
He does have that. It's just the shoulder pads that came with the suit.
It says 2 lumps.
All right, everybody. Well, it was another fun episode. Dude, I just Junior. Dude, I just drew Junior. Yeah. It was great having you all here, having fun drawings, and stuff like that. And yeah, it was real fun. Hope to see you guys next time. Bye. Goodbye, everybody. Bye.
All right, welcome back. I just had to jam out for that song a little bit. But anyways, you guys can enjoy the premiere of our horror camp movie today, hopefully this evening. I'll make sure that gets online either on Facebook or YouTube, either tonight or tomorrow. But you can expect to see it sometime soon, before August, hopefully. The horror camp, they're doing another episode of Nature Guy, so if you haven't... I suggest you check that out on YouTube. All you got to do is look up Nature Guy, MCAT TV. You'll know exactly what you're in for. Anyways, that's pretty much for a lot of things happening here. But let's talk about a couple of the other things that are happening in the city of Missoula if you're planning on going and doing some things. Roots Acro Sports Center is back doing some movement art club, affectionately referred to as MAC, is the spin-on preschool with an emphasis on physical movement. They build learning environments to foster both emotional and social development as we help prepare a little one for grade school. And so this is at Roots Acro Sports Center. They have Mismo Gymnastics. There's a lot of gym-type stuff for your kids to be indoors, have some fun, get away from the smoke. Kids Eat Free mobile bus. So just so you guys know, the Missoula Food Bank is doing free lunches, free breakfasts at like mini schools, but also they're having a transportation from Missoula Food Bank. They're going to be doing Sisson University Apartments from 11 to 11:20. They're going to move the bus to Silver Tip and Creekside Apartment. Sorry, I'm from Montana. Crick. Anyways, 12 to 12:20 is going to Travois Village. 12:30 to about 1 o'clock, it's Ventura Mobile Home Park. Meal schedules at Empower Place, which is in the Missoula Food Bank off of Wyoming Street. Breakfast and lunch, all sorts of things happening for the Missoula Food Bank, and the Kids Eat Free Summer Program is a wonderful resource for here. And also, if you come to the Missoula Public Library, they also have it around 11:30 to about 1. You guys can just stop in. If you're under 18, get a free lunch, no questions asked. Shh. Story time. Missoula Public Library. Story time is for children aged 3 and older and their caregivers, and you can join them for fun in the level 2 programming room in the new library. Story time will be recorded and posted online at a later date on the library's official website and YouTube channel. Okay, Summer Rushdown Circuit Deadline. So this is a Smash Bros. Video game tournament. If you are interested in the Super Smash Brothers, bringing all the Nintendo characters into a fighting arena, you can participate. The Full Hop in University of Montana's Gaming Den, August 7th. Also, if you participate in the Summer Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Tournament, you'll be entered into the Wild Card Tournament in August 14th. And so far, they're doing a thing in Great Falls, Congo Falls, July 31st, and also, wait, hold on a second. That's actually happening at noon today, so since you don't actually need to go to Great Falls, so I'm assuming they're probably doing some online fights as well. So August 7th is the full hoop. It's going to be in Missoula, and this is the tournament being hosted in Missoula for this upcoming tournament on the 14th. Margie Cates, if you don't know her, you might remember her from the Whiz Pops in the children's band that was playing pretty predominantly here in Missoula around town. She's back, and she's performing at 10 Spoon Vineyard Winery. The wine starts at 4 and the music starts at 6. It's inclusive for all ages. It's kids are free, but it's $5 donation, $5 for the event. Mac Lethal is going to do some hip-hop music at Monk's tonight. Showdown is going to be some country music at the Sunrise Saloon tonight. And when I say tonight, I mean they're going to probably start late. They say 7, 9 o'clock, but what they really mean is like they're probably going to start like at 10, 10:30, 11 o'clock. So this is like late-night clubbing things. Cash for Junkers is going to be at Union Club. And Much Ado About Nothing will be performing its second and last weekend at the ZAC, and it'll be performing at 7:30 tonight, and their last show will be on the 31st, in which MCAT will stream it, starting at 7:30 p.m. as well. But also they got Yes Fest, which is happening around the same time at 7:30 here at the Missoula Public Library, and we're going to be live streaming it through MCAT. Going to be a single camera, very sweet setup over in the Cooper Room on the top floor of the Missoula Public Library, and it's for kids who are learning about performing, being on stage, and most importantly, improv, which is why it's called Yes Fest. Yes, and moving on. Saturday markets. From 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., you guys can enjoy the Farmers Market, the People's Market, and the River Street Market, which is all located in front of the Carousel down near Caris Park, Pine Street right in front of Thomas Marbar, and various areas around Pine Street, and also by the Red X's at the very end of Higgins Avenue next to the railroad station. And then up next this is an iris sale. So if you're interested in flowers and you want to buy some flowers, Missoula Iris Society Iris Sale. This is going to be at Fort Missoula starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. It is a wonderful thing. The Iris Display Garden is very beautiful, and now they are selling it. So a lot of their wide selections of colors, varieties from your garden at a very reasonable price. Let's see, Art Talk and Tour. It's going to be at Historic Museum in Fort Missoula as well. So if you're done buying some flowers, you can go on an art tour with Maria, and she's going to be doing it from 11 to 12. This is following a happy hour with light food and drink and a chance to meet the artist and mingle. Moon Randolph Homestead. It is one of the few existing homesteads that have been restored and kept up over the last many years, and people are who are allowed to basically you get a contract and you're allowed to stay in a homesteading there for 2-3 years at a time, and you get to live there for free. But all you have to do is basically make sure that the property is kept up and taken care of, and you have to provide tours, which is what this 11 o'clock on Saturdays is all about. Indigenous Art Market. Starting at 11 a.m. as well. This is going to be at the Travelers Rest State Park in 6717 Highway 12 West Lolo. Travelers Rest. It is just right off the highway, right where you're going through Lolo, just as you're about to leave Lolo as you're passing from Missoula. Dog Days of Summer Dodgeball Tournament. A sports barn, which is the Valentine Center, which is across from Pacific Steel. They have a dodgeball tournament starting at 5 p.m. get up for the Sports Bar Dog Days of Summer dodgeball tournament. So if you like dodgeball, this is the place to be. Get a team. Missoula Paddleheads Baseball, they've been playing pretty much all weekend long, and they're also doing a game tonight at Saturday, 7 p.m. and Sunday at 5 p.m. Missoula versus Grand Junction. And here's a couple music events that are happening on Saturday night. Cranky Sam Public House, that new place next to Bigga Pizza. Live music with Comic Sans, and also Free Cycles is opening up. I haven't seen too many of their shows, but it's Free Cycles is always puts on a great show. It's usually has like a $5 entry fee. They keg a beer keg, and then they just have a lot of fun things. And so far, the performer Saturday night is the Timber Rattlers, are the energetic bluegrass band from Missoula and the Bitter Valley. They pull inspiration from their traditional roots, but continue to push the boundaries of the realm of acoustic music, which means they take a lot of popular music and folkify them. They are excited to now have a chance to play live shows and give everyone an opportunity to grab a CD, T-shirt, and stickers so they can make money. All right, so Missoula Outdoor Cinema, Big Fish. If you're interested in part of the North Side community, Missoula Outdoor Cinema is going to be at Head Start Playground. They project on the wall, and it usually they 9 o'clock is when they kind of open up, but the showtime most likely would be 9:30. 10 o'clock. They usually kind of push it depending upon sundown. And those are pretty much your Saturday night events as well. I've gone on for quite a good amount of time. And I think that's a good point to end as well. There's a Target Range Farmers Market on Sunday. You guys can check that out in Target Range Elementary School. This is from 10 to 2 p.m. Target Range Elementary, you can't miss it. You can look that up. And Kiddos Amphitheater is doing a show Sunday for King and Country's Summer 2021 tour. And Hip Strip Movie Night, if you're going to the Missoula Senior Center at Sunday night at 8:30, you can watch The Breakfast Club. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful week. I have a show next Friday, but then I'm going to be gone the following week. But next week we have our Animation 3 camp, our last summer camp of the season. And I also wanted to mention that we're going to start doing our Saturday drop-ins starting in September, the first Saturday preceding Labor Day weekend. I don't know the date off the top of my head, but you can look that up, and we're going to start doing that really soon. So it's a wonderful stop-in, drop-in. Kids do some stop animation, and it's a fun, wonderful activity here at MCAT. So without further ado, I want to thank you guys for joining me, and for Wake Up Missoula, I'm Scott Ramf. Take care.